Hello and welcome. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll get to the top stories from India and the region. I'm Gautam Roy. And for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague in Washington, D.C., Jagrati Dave. How are you doing, Jagrati?
Good morning, Gautam. I'm doing very well. It's 10 a.m. here in Washington and 3 in the afternoon across Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Bangladesh's parliament is dissolved following national protests which toppled Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And find out who Kamala Harris has picked as her running mate for the 2024 presidential election. But first, let's get the headlines.
Bangladesh President dissolves parliament a day after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigns and left the country. India's External Affairs Minister tells Parliament India remains deeply concerned till the situation there stabilizes. US Vice President Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, set to unveil the full Democratic presidential ticket at a rally in Philadelphia. Multiple people injured as Hezbollah unleashes a swarm of drones towards northern Israel, warns its retaliation for the death of one of its top commanders last week is yet to come. And India's Vinesh Phogat is set to compete in the semifinals of the 50 kg wrestling freestyle at the Paris Olympics later tonight. And javelin ace Niranjan Chopra has qualified for the final with a throw of 89.34 meters. First up, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke about the Bangladesh situation in both houses of the country's parliament. The minister said that Sheikh Hasina has been in India since Monday evening. She had sought India's permission at a short notice to come into the country.
Our understanding is that after a meeting with leaders of the security establishment, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina apparently made the decision to resign. At very short notice, she requested approval to come for the moment to India. We simultaneously received a request for flight clearance from Bangladesh authorities. She arrived yesterday evening in Delhi.
The minister also said that there are an estimated 19,000 Indian nationals in Bangladesh. New Delhi is in close and continuous touch with the Indian community there.
There are an estimated 19,000.
In the meantime, Bangladesh's parliament has been dissolved. The country now awaits the formation of an interim government. The army chief discussed with leaders of political parties on the way forward on Monday. The next day, President Mohammad Shahabuddin announced that an interim government will hold general elections as soon as possible after consulting parties and other stakeholders. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's Nationalist Party chairperson Begum Khalida Zia has been released from house arrest following a unanimous decision made during a meeting between Bangladesh President Mohammad Shahabuddin and the chiefs of the three services, along with representatives from various political parties and civil society. And in a major reshuffle in the top levels of the Bangladeshi army, Major General Ziaul Ehsan has been relieved from his post, while Lieutenant General M. Saiful Islam has been transferred to the Foreign Ministry. Inter-Services Personal Relations Office issued a press release in this regard on Tuesday. Besides, Lieutenant General Mohammad Mujibur Rahman was made the GOC Army Training and Doctrine Command. Lieutenant General Ahmed Tabrez Shams Chaudhry was made the Master General of the Army Quarter. Now, US Vice President and Democratic Party presidential candidate Kamala Harris is reported to have picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as a running mate for the contest against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. DD India's Jagrati Dave is in Washington, D.C. and gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. Now, hi Jagrati. Is it official now, or will it only be known once that rally kicks off in Philadelphia tonight?
Hi, Gotham. Well, at the moment, US media is reporting, citing sources, that Kamala Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate, but the campaign hasn't made it an official announcement yet. She's chosen a progressive policy champion and a plain speaker from America's heartland to help win over rural white voters. Harris became the Democratic Party's standard bearer after President Joe Biden ended his re-election campaign last month. And since then, she's raised hundreds of millions of dollars and revived the party's hopes of an election victory. Harris is expected to appear with her running mate at an event in Philadelphia later today. Now, DD India's Mitch McCann joins us live for more on this. Mitch, what do we know about Tim Walz, and where does the Harris-Walz campaign go from here?
Well, good morning, Jagrati. We know more about Tim Walz now than we did 16 days ago, because that's how short it was when Kamala Harris was the vice presidential pick, only 16 days ago before she took over when Joe Biden stepped down from that ticket. Now, Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota. He's in his second term in that job. He was first elected in 2018 and then re-elected in that state in 2022. And the reason why this is really so significant this morning is because he was really an outsider initially when these conversations first started. There were more favourites in the race who were likely to get the nod, people like Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania or Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona. They were really the favourites in this race. I heard one analyst on television here in the US this morning saying that Tim Walz was the darkest dark horse in the race who's managed to come through and win that place on the ticket with Kamala Harris. As for what he's done as governor, we know that he has had very progressive policies in Minnesota. He's led a number of policies, including free school lunches for public schools. He introduced protections, making it easier for workers to unionize. And as you mentioned at the top there, it's hoped from the Harris campaign perspective that he can bring in some of those rural white voters from the Midwest of the United States, the same voters that J.D. Vance, the running mate on Donald Trump's ticket, they hope will bring in for them as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how he is received by the Democratic Party. As for what happens now, Jagrati, there's going to be a rally involving Walz and Harris later today in Philadelphia, and then they'll kick off a multi-city, multi-battleground state tour together over the coming days. They're going to visit places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Arizona, and Nevada. And this race is really heating up. All polls at the moment indicate it is very, very close between both the Harris campaign and the Trump campaign.
It's all heating up here. Mitch McCann, thank you very much for that update. Next today, Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdallah Habib has held a joint press conference with his Egyptian counterpart, where he said he is working to ensure any response to Israel does not trigger a wider war. He also said Hezbollah's response to the Israeli attacks would not benefit any country.
نحن نعمل من أجل أن لا نصل.
We are working to ensure any response does not trigger total war, because it would not benefit any of the countries involved, including Israel. Only those who want to incite conflict would gain from such a situation. We as officials do not want any war.
The Egyptian foreign minister also highlighted the importance of international coordination between Egypt and the US. Habib's remarks come as tensions in the region have escalated following the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran last week. Meanwhile, Lebanon's armed group Hezbollah said it has launched a series of drones and rockets against military targets in northern Israel, warning their retaliatory attack for the death of a top commander last week was yet to come. The Israeli military said several hostile drones were identified crossing from Lebanon and one was intercepted. They also said a number of civilians were injured during the incident. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have been briefed by their national security team on developments in West Asia, including potential threats posed by Iran and its proxies to American service members. At the briefing, they were told it's still unclear when Iran and Hezbollah are likely to launch an attack against Israel, as well as the nature of that retaliation. Iran blames Israel for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. However, Israeli officials have not claimed responsibility for the killing. DD India's Sarah Coates joins us live now from Tel Aviv. Sarah, a major escalation in northern Israel. What can you tell us?
Hello there, Jagrudi. A very dangerous escalation. This happened just a few hours ago. Hezbollah claiming what it is calling a swarm of drones launched from southern Lebanon into Israeli territory. They were shot between the town, the coastal city of Nahariya and Akko. That is about 20 kilometres from the Lebanese border, also about 100 kilometres or so from where I'm standing. Now, very dramatic pictures circulating on social media showing these drones in the sky, a number of them exploding on a main highway, seriously wounding, critically wounding one civilian with some 6 others hospitalised. So certainly a very worrying escalation. And what this really shows, Jagruti, is that Hezbollah now really does have the capability, the capacity to fire these sort of weapons into Israeli territory without them being intercepted by the Iron Dome missile defence system. And I do have a statement here from the Israeli military on that. It said that following the report earlier today regarding a fallen hostile aircraft on Route 4 on the south of Nahariya, an initial inquiry indicates that an interceptor missile actually missed the target and hit the ground, injuring several civilians, saying that the incident is under review. Now, we've also heard from Hezbollah in the wake of this incident saying that this is not the retaliation for the assassination of Fuad Shakur, which happened, of course, just over a week ago in Beirut. So certainly a very dangerous time here on the ground, really, as people here in Israel wait to see what will happen in terms of this promised retaliation from Iran over the killing of Hamas's Politburo leader Ismail Haniyeh.
Thank you very much, Sarah Coates, for that update. That was our correspondent, Sarah Coates, reporting from Tel Aviv. Now, amid tensions in West Asia, several countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, France and South Korea, have issued advisories and evacuation orders urging their citizens to leave Lebanon immediately. Some airlines have also suspended their flights. Delta announced it will suspend all flights from New York City to Tel Aviv for the remainder of August, and the announcement extends a previous suspension that began last week. Germany's Lufthansa Group said its carriers would be avoiding Iranian and Iraqi airspace until Wednesday. The group, which includes carriers such as Swiss International Airlines, Austrian Airlines and Eurowings, said all flights to Tel Aviv, Tehran and Beirut had been suspended up to and including the 12th of August. And that's it from me here in Washington. Back to you in the studio, Gautam.
Thank you, Jagrati, for that helping hand from Washington, D.C. And still to come on DD India Global. Fiji confers its highest civilian award upon India's President Draupadi Murmu during her maiden visit to the Pacific Island nation. And a factory in Egypt which is producing ice in a new eco-friendly way.
The one common theme between all major cities across the world is hope and the promise of new opportunities and possibilities that gravitates people towards them.
The reason why we advocate green transformations is because you can retain the building and you can actually modify.
There's a lot that happens when you extract sand beyond sustainable limits. It's going to change your course of your river, it's going to widen the channel, it's going to damage, and we are paying a big price.
We have 2 water reservoirs on 84 acres of land. During periods when the river water is non-saline, we store water in these reservoirs. Throughout the year, we distribute this water to residents.
Tiny houses are in vogue. Less is more. Many also assume tiny homes are more eco-friendly.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I'm Gautam Roy. India's President Draupadi Murmu addressed Fiji's parliament on Tuesday. Fiji conferred its highest civilian award, the Companion of the Order of Fiji, on President Murmu. The president addressed an enthusiastic gathering of the Indian diaspora in Fiji as well. DD India's Anjana Unnikrishnan reports from Fiji's capital, Suva.
President Draupadi Murmu's visit to Fiji saw the two sides exchange documentation of project sites for a 100-bedded super speciality hospital in Suva and land for the Chancery and Cultural Centre of the High Commission of India. Earlier in the day, President Murmu received a ceremonial welcome and guard of honour at the Suva airport, followed by a splendid traditional Fijian welcome ceremony. She highlighted the preservation of native traditions as integral to cultural identity and empowerment. The president underscored the shared values between the two nations during her address to the Fijian parliament.
Our democracy, the diversity of our societies, our creed that all human beings are equal, and our commitment to the liberty, dignity and rights of every individual. These shared values are eternal and shall continue to guide us ahead.
The president also addressed the Indian community and hailed the contribution of the Girmitiyas in the development of Fiji and close ties between the two nations.
अनेक कठिनाइयों के बीच अग्रणी पीढ़ियों द्वारा दिखाया गया दृढ़ संकल्प, उनका संघर्ष और बलिदान और फिर उनकी सफलता एक अद्भुत विरासत है। हम आज आप सभी को और आपके पूर्वजों को याद करते हैं और उनका में स्मृति को हम नमन करते हैं। अपनी सांस्कृतिक पहचान को बरकरार रखते हुए फिजी भारतीय समुदाय ने अपने नई मातृभूमि को अपनाया है और इस महान देश के निर्माण में अपना योगदान दिया है, जो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में आशा की किरण है।
The president paid floral tributes to the statue of Mahatma Gandhi at the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial College in Suva. She also laid a wreath at the National War Memorial.
As India celebrates 75 years of diplomatic presence in Fiji, the country has become a key partner for India in the Pacific region. With high-profile engagements and action-oriented platforms like FIPIC, this long-standing partnership will be elevated to the next level. With camera person Alok Gupta, this is Anjana Unnikrishnan for DD India, Fiji.
New Delhi hosted the second Energy Summit on Tuesday, organized by the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. The event saw the participation of several experts from the energy sectors of both India and the US. The summit is aimed at advancing the decarbonization of the Indian economy by 2030 in the context of climate change. As India rapidly progresses towards developed status, it's making significant efforts on critical issues such as climate change and achieving a carbon-free economy. India's first multinational air exercise, Tarang Shakti 2024, kick-started in Surur, Tamil Nadu on Tuesday. German, French, Spanish and the Royal Air Force conducted air exercises with the Indian Air Force. In the exercises, nearly 30 countries will be participating, and out of 30, 10 countries will join the exercise with their fighter aircraft. The exercise is being conducted in two phases, which aim to showcase India's defence prowess and provide a platform for participating militaries to foster interoperability. Now, a quick look at some of the other stories making news around the world as well. Entire neighborhoods were underwater in Florida's Sarasota County after Hurricane Debbie dumped large amounts of rain in the region. The homes and streets surrounded by floodwaters, and hundreds of residents had to be rescued from the high waters. More rain is expected in the region on Tuesday. Climate change poses significant challenges to the coastal communities of the Caribbean nation. Rising sea levels are forcing indigenous people on Panama Island to leave their homes. The tropical island used to be a popular tourist destination, but climate change is expected to hit the residents who earn revenue from tourism. Mustafa Al-Ashri factory in Egypt is producing ice in an environmentally friendly way, which is reducing thermal emissions, lowering the carbon footprint and minimizing water waste. The factory, established in 1988, aims to continue innovating and spreading its idea globally to eliminate contaminated ice. A US judge has ruled that Google acted illegally to crush its competition and maintain a monopoly on online search and related advertising. The landmark decision on Monday is a major blow to Alphabet, Google's parent company. It could reshape how technology giants do business. Google was sued by the US Department of Justice in 2020 over its control of about 90% of the online search market. It's one of several lawsuits that have been filed against the big tech companies as US antitrust authorities attempt to strengthen competition in the industry. It is not clear yet as to what penalties Google and Alphabet will face as a result of this decision. The fines and other remedies will be decided at a future hearing. And now let's get you all the updates that are coming in from the Paris Olympics. Indian wrestler Vinesh Phogat has advanced into the semi-finals of the women's 50 kg event at the Paris Olympics. She defeated Ukraine's Oksana Levash in the quarterfinals. Phogat is one win away from securing a medal for India. Earlier, she stunned world number 1 and defending champion Yui Sasaki of Japan in the round of 16. It was a historic win for Vinesh as Sasaki won gold at Tokyo 2020 without conceding a point, and this is also the first time Sasaki lost a bout in an international competition. And another piece of good news coming in from athletics as well, where Niranjan Chopra lived up to the expectations as the defending Olympic champion, qualifying for the javelin throw final in his first attempt itself at the Paris Olympics 2024. He threw his javelin to a distance of 89.34 meters in Group B qualification. This is Niranjan's best ever throw at a global championship and his second best ever, 89.94, which was at the Diamond League in Stockholm. Also in Paris today, Team India is all set to take on reigning FIH champions Germany in a semi-final clash. Let's take a look at this pre-match preview of the high-octane hockey clash.
In a much-awaited clash of the Paris Olympics, the Indian hockey team is all set to take on Germany in the semi-final clash. Tokyo Olympics bronze medalist Team Hockey will now look forward to change its medal colour this time at the Paris Olympics. India, who's ranked 5th in the world, will face Germany, who are the 4-time Olympic gold medalist and reigning FIH Hockey World Cup champions. If we talk about their previous encounters, the odds are not in favour of India, as Germany have won 53 matches out of 106 between the two sides, and the Indians have won just 26 with 27 games ending in draws. In Olympics, India and Germany played 12 matches, in which India won 5, Germany 4 and 3 were drawn. However, India have had the upper hand in the last 6 matches, winning 5 of them and losing just 1. Let's take a look at India's journey to semi-finals at Paris Olympics. If we talk about the group stage, India beat New Zealand by 3-2. In second group stage encounter, Indian men's hockey team secured a 1-1 draw against Argentina. India then beat Ireland by 2-0, but India lost to Belgium by 1-2. Eventually, India created history by defeating Australia by 3-2 in group stage clash, and in quarterfinals, India beat Great Britain in a dramatic finish and now are all set to face Germany in their semi-final clash. However, India will be without the services of defender and first rusher Amit Rohidas in the semi-final clash, as he is serving a one-match ban for an offence during the game against Great Britain. But India is determined and keen on securing a victory in order to change their medal colour this time at the Paris Games. Sports Desk, DD India.
Romans enjoyed the beauty of fake snowfall in the centre of the Italian capital despite overnight temperatures near 30 degrees Celsius. Citizens and tourists enjoyed a light show and a fake snowfall commemorating the miracle of Our Lady of the Snow linked to the foundation of the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore. Since 1983, on the 5th of August, the miracle is reenacted with a great spectacle that enchants the eternal city with its snowflakes. And that's it for this edition of DD India Global, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now and download the app now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Global.